work, 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 work. To me, I be work, 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 work. See me do me dirt, 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 dirt. So me by that work, 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 work. When you walk a line, 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 line. In the girls and murder, da, 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 da. Drive me a dessert. Nothing to have you lurking.
Yeah.
You make a like, now you not like it. You know I dealt with you the nicest. Nobody touched me in the righteous. Nobody text me in a crisis. I believe that all of your dreams are duration. You took my heart, all my keys, and my patience. You took my heart, I must leave a decoration. You mistaken my love, I brought for you for phone, yeah.
Hey YouTube, it's your girl Miss Angie coming to bring you another video. Today I want to talk about a very personal topic, and that's basically on being in a abusive relationship. It's something I feel like a lot of us women and men tuck under the rug, and we don't talk about it because we're in the situation and we're dealing with it. And I wanted to come without me having to write down, you know, pretty much any notes on the situation, because I definitely lived in it. I was in that situation. So it's like I just wanted to come and do the video and be, you know, completely raw about it and honest about my situation, because I want to be able to help somebody else who's been in the same situation as me. You have to understand that women and men have, or can be, or have been abused. We have to look at it as not just women. So I wanted to just, you know, talk about it for both, for men and women who may have been in a situation or struggling in abusive situations. As I kind of looked at, because I know when I was in the relationship I was in, I was probably, I want to say 2022, around that age. Well, yeah, I'll probably say between 2022, with one of my exes, and it was a devastating situation, you know, for me, because I've never been in an abusive situation until I got into that relationship. Yes, have I been cheated on before and everything else? Yeah, in past relationships, but abused was never something I ever thought I was going to go through. And so I just want to make this video, you know, talking about my personal experience. A lot of my friends and family didn't know, or probably still to this day didn't know, that I was in an abusive situation with my ex at that young age. You know, when you think about in your 20s, when you're 20, 22, 21, you're thinking about, you know what I'm saying, enjoying your life, enjoying, you know, that age is supposed to be fun. You know, you never think about being in a relationship where you're getting hurt, where you're getting beat on or touched, you know, in that way. So it was, like I said, it's a tough topic to talk about. And like I've said in my past videos, the journey I was on was definitely a journey of, I want to be able to find my husband. I want to be happy. I want to be able to, you know what I'm saying, finally show my parents that I found somebody. So I think a lot of the ways of me staying in that relationship as long as I did was probably because I thought the person can change. Because I thought, okay, maybe if I stay, you know, maybe this person will change. Maybe this person will see value in me. And that wasn't the case at all. And I feel like that's a lot of reasons why we stay, men and women. We stay because maybe we feel like, okay, this person might change. If this person sees the value in me, if this person finally wakes up and looks up and appreciates me, then things will be better for me. But that is not always the case. And I'm saying that just from me, or me hearing about other people who've been in abusive situations. That wasn't the case. And I don't know too many who have been in abusive situations, but just going off of me growing up and hearing things or talking to friends, you know. So like I said, I was probably like in between 20, 21, 22, around that age. At the time, me and my ex-boyfriend, we had decided to get an apartment together. For me, I was in a happy stage and a happy moment of like, wow, you know what I'm saying? This is somebody who I feel like I can go further with. He had a good job. He had a good head on his shoulders. At this time, we were fairly new in a relationship. So yeah, it was definitely, I think it was more like for me at that age, I was like, okay, we're about to get an apartment together. Things are going to be, looking up as far as hopefully within time we'll get married. And the relationship, like I said, was fairly new. We probably knew each other under a year. And I was just looking at it from a standpoint of, I'm finally in a relationship that looks positive for me because we're moving in together. He had a good job, his own car. Was probably, I think around that time working 2 jobs, had my own car. So it seemed like a good power move, as far as a power move in a relationship. So when we decided to move in with each other, we got an apartment and stuff like that. Everything seemed like it was going good. What I will say is that I probably didn't notice little red flags before we moved in together. And when I say red flags, it might be as far as like him questioning maybe who I was on the phone with, or maybe little things that kind of was stuff I bypassed. Like, oh, okay, maybe it's because he really is concerned. He don't want to be in a relationship of being hurt. Because, of course, I've been in relationships of being hurt before. So I figured it was just him, kind of reassuring that he was in the right situation, even though I've never been a cheater. And I've never operated like that or gave him the reason for him to question that. But I kind of felt like, okay, well, he just cares, he cares about me or whatever. So when he might ask who was I texting or who I was talking to and stuff like that, that might have been a red flag that I ignored, that maybe it could be a little bit deeper than what it was. But there were small things like that, probably small things in our conversation that I could have picked up on and was like, that was a red flag. Then maybe we need to slow this down. Maybe we don't need to get an apartment. Fast forwarding to we get the apartment and everything seems like it's going good. We got the furniture. We was able to kind of decorate the apartment the way we wanted to. Prior looking at the apartment, we just was like, okay, it was a nice space. It was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, fireplace. It was something that I was like so excited about because that was my first place in itself with, my boyfriend, and I figured everything was going to be good. Everything was smooth. And then that's when that whole thing, like you don't know somebody until you move with somebody, was kind of like that deal. A few situations that I noticed in our relationship that was really harsh was the change in his attitude. Sometimes he would get mad at me for certain food that I would take out of the refrigerator or that I would eat that we had that was supposed to be for both of us. But he kind of looked at it like I paid for it. You know what I'm saying? Why you digging in my food? The only thing that you should be eating right now is honey buns. And I kid you not, I'm more on the slender side, and I guess he may have dated probably more women who were more on the, had more of a body. And so that threw me back because I'm like, you want me to eat honey buns and there's more to food, you know what I'm saying? I guess he was looking at it like I paid for it, you know what I'm saying? And as far as the other food, but any food to fatten me up, I guess, or plump me up. Because I was kind of like taken back, but he was serious. He was for real. Like he was like, no, you're going to eat honey buns, to plump you up or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of bypassed it, but needless to say, it wasn't like I was really trying to go in the refrigerator and eat. So unless we both got something to eat or I went out and got my own food, that was kind of like one of the situations, basically almost turning, I guess I could say the situation started turning into a roommate situation instead of me being boyfriend and girlfriend. But once again, I didn't notice that sign. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, I'm like, okay, cool. He want me to, get a little thick, but I mean, I gotta survive and eat more than just honey buns. So, like I said, it came down to it, to me buying my own food or, having my own food at the house or whatever. So whatever, that was cool. Like, okay, I'll eat honey buns and I have to buy my own food to survive because I can't survive off of honey buns, basically flat out. Then it turned into a type of thing like, you only come over here to watch the cable. And I was sitting here like, what? Like, I'm only coming over here to watch the cable. Like, this is my apartment too. I pay bills here too. But it turned into that. Like, I could be sitting in the living room wanting to watch, because we had cable and stuff, and I might want to watch music videos. Back in that time, music videos were real popular. So, me coming out of my parents' house, which another thing was my parents didn't even know at the time that I had got an apartment with him. So that's another, situation in itself. But I guess coming from that, me going ahead and saying, all right, this is kind of different because, I'm out on my own. We got cable, what I'm saying, nice apartment, stuff like that. I would go in the living room, watch TV. He just came with an argument like, you just come over here to watch TV and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, another red flag in itself. Like, why does it matter? You can come home and watch whatever you want to watch, but when I want to watch something, it's the difference. He worked a lot. I worked a lot. But when I decided, to have one of my friends come over, excuse me, I wanted one of my friends to come over and visit, and it was an issue. I was like, I was going to have my friend come and spend the night, her chill, because I was happy to have my place, and I had told her, I guess, I forgot exactly what the situation was, but I'm like, yeah, girl, you can come spend the night, chill, whatever. And he was like, nah, you can't have company. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, I pay bills here, once again. Another red flag. I'm like, I pay bills here and stuff, and you telling me that I can't have company. I can't have my friends spend the night. So I had to tell her, like, no, what I'm saying, I can't have, company or whatever the case may be. When he decided he wanted to invite one of his boys over, excuse me, from his job, it was no issue. Of course, I had to go to our room while he had company, and they were cooking, what I'm saying? He made, his homeboy some chicken and whatever else. And I'm in the back room, and it was like he could have company and make food, and they was chilling, watching the game or whatever they was doing. But I was in the back room, solo, whatever. It was a chill time, and I just sat back like, okay, cool, y'all chilling. But when it was me having company or wanting to have my friend over, it was a no. So, okay, there goes another red flag. So I just continue to, in my head, think that everything was going to be okay at the end of the day. I'm like, maybe this is just, maybe this is just the adjustment process, me adjusting to how he lives and him adjusting to me. It's still early in the process. So anyways, lo and behold, that good old phone. I'm not the type of person who wants to look through nobody's phone. But of course, I ended up finding out that he was talking or communicating with another female. And it was, I guess, an ex or whatever the case may be. Anyways, I ended up going through the phone and I mentioned it. And he lost it. He lost it. I remember it was yesterday. what I'm saying? I'm like, what is this? And me questioning it was a issue. Why you in my phone? What and I'm like, well, who is this, female is what I wanted to know. And I remember, I want to say he was going out that night. He comes, he was ironing his clothes, I want to say is how it started. He was ironing his clothes. He was going to go out. And the conversation escalated, and he turns to me talking about, wanting to burn me with the iron. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, he done lost it now. I'm like, you gonna burn me with the iron after, I'm the one who found something in your phone. And I'm just trying to replay it back in my head because a lot of details I kind of shut down because of how traumatic the relationship was between me and him. So anyways, I'm backing up. I'm like, no, like you not about to burn me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to back down, like, but I'm trying to hold my own. Like, you not about to sit up here and burn me for real because I checked through or I had seen something in your phone. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, stuff was starting to get weird once we moved in with each other. Another situation was we had got into it and he just started hitting on me. I remember I actually ended up going into the second bedroom because the second bedroom was going to be like our guest bedroom or whatever for any company or whatever, or if his mom was to come over and stuff like that. And I remember me backing into the second bedroom and he was hitting on me, like punching on me like I was his homeboy. And I can't necessarily remember what we got into it about because I'm not gonna lie, y'all, we got into petty arguments. And just going back to the whole argument thing, I remember even a point in time where they had the Jordan release with, they had released Jordans and I ended up getting up there late, because I wear Jordans, but it wasn't like I was there prior to dealing with the whole getting in line and what time you need to get in line for the Jordan release. But these were Jordans that he really wanted. And I remember him arguing with me about me not getting the shoe because I got there late. So we could have been arguing about anything. And I remember he was upset for whatever reason and started hitting on me like I was a man. And I remember going to work that next day and I wore all black and I just couldn't do nothing but sit there and cry within myself because I had bruises on my body, bruises on my legs. And I was like, I've never been through this before. I've never been through a situation where I've been hit on. But of course, I stayed. And it's crazy because when you're in that situation, you could always tell a friend, like, girl, you got to go. But I was just in the whole mindset of I wanted this to work. I was on the lease with the apartment and everything. I wanted it to work for us. So now we go into things getting deeper. Now I'm already been, almost burnt with an iron. Now you over here hitting on me and I'm going to work with bruises, and I never told anybody really what was going on. So now we get to the place of me possibly being pregnant. Anyways, he tells me to go to this clinic and he tells me this clinic to go to or whatever for me to take a plan B or something to kind of terminate the pregnancy or whatever. Basically, it was whatever I needed to do, he wanted me to do as far as he didn't want me to have his child. So anyways, I get to the clinic, I take a pregnancy test and the test came up negative. But of course, the doctor was like, it's probably too early to really tell if you are pregnant, and they had me in a waiting room and stuff like that. So in this waiting room, I remember reading this book of women who had got abortions and they were talking to their unborn child. And I started reading it. And mind you, I'm young, and I felt like I didn't even have the chance to really speak on me wanting to keep this child or wanting to get a plan B. It was kind of like he just threw it to me, like, go to this clinic, get a plan B. Like, it was just so normal for him. It wasn't no talking about, well, if you could be pregnant or anything. And so, like I said, the nurse basically said it was early. It was too early to really tell, if you're pregnant and stuff like that. And like I said, I was in the waiting room and I was reading this book about women who had abortions. And I remember telling them that I didn't want to take the plan B after, the nurse came back in there and we were talking about whatever. I remember telling the nurse, I didn't want to take a plan B or anything. I'll just come back later. If maybe my period don't come or whatever, I'll come back. Type situation. So anyways, of course, I get back to the apartment. He's asking, when we talked or whatever, I want to say he got home from work or something like that. And we were talking and I told him like, I couldn't do it. I'm being honest. I couldn't do it because I'm like, I don't think I really thought about it as far as me wanting to have a child, and I'm like, I feel like it has to be agreement on both sides. And I remember sitting on the couch and he like, basically yelling with me, another argument. Like, what you mean you ain't, take the plan B? I told you what to do. I told you where to go and all of this other stuff. And like I said, it was so long ago, but that I remember this like it was yesterday. I can't remember word for word, but of course it went left. And he proceeds, I'm sitting on the couch, I'm sitting on the edge of the couch, and he proceeds to hop over the couch and land on my stomach and tell me, like, you not about to F up my life. You not about to sit up here and have this child or whatever. And I told you what to do and all this other stuff. And sits on my stomach and just all his weight. He just put all his weight on my stomach and kept hopping on my stomach, pouncing on me, just everything. You know what I'm saying? Putting his all, like, you not about to sit up here and have my child and all of this and stuff like that. And I just was confused because I'm like, I'm your girlfriend. And I understand that you may not be ready for a child. But I knew in my heart one day I wanted to be a mother. So I was like, you ain't give me a chance to even think about what I wanted to do. And I mean, it hurt me because he just kept laying all his weight on me. Like, you're not about to have this child. Even if you are pregnant, if I was pregnant and stuff like that, you're not about to ever my life. Like, I just remember hearing that like it was yesterday. And I'm sitting over here thinking to myself, like, I wanted children one day. And I felt like I didn't have enough time to really process if I wanted to do this or not. But he didn't care. He didn't care. Just kept jumping on me, pushing on my stomach, just like, and in my head, I was like, how do you do this to somebody that you love, somebody that you care for? How do you do this? How do you sit up there in one breath say that you love me and you care about me, and then in the next breath, you doing all these other signs that show that you don't really give two, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even trying to cuss, but I was angry and it hurt me. But of course, I'm in this lease with this man. I'm with him, you know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to stay strong in this because I want it to work. I want it to work. I've never been in an abusive situation like this before. And I wanted it to work. And it's stupid. It's stupid to stay. I get it. But when you in that situation, it's like, dang, how do I get out? Especially with somebody that you feel like you love. Needless to say, things get worse. And all of a sudden, it's like he switched the game on me, like you like a sister to me. We cool, you know what I'm saying? And basically asked for his key back, even though I'm paying rent there. Asked for his key back. And later, within a month or so, now I'm basically kicked out the apartment that I stayed in. That I was paying on. That my name is on. And I look up, and I remember being on Facebook one day, and this girl is in my apartment taking pictures in my bedroom, taking pictures in my living room or closet or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is this? He done moved a whole nother girl in. A whole nother girl. Like, I'm like, my life could not be any worse. I remember I got a phone call one day and it confirmed it because I guess this girl turned stalker on him. I come out to the apartment and it's all her stuff. All her stuff in the closet, in the drawers, weave everywhere. Just, now mind you, I didn't even really get a chance to fully move my stuff in because, like I said, my parents didn't even know I got the apartment. But it was mad crazy to me that she moved in all her stuff. And now all of a sudden she turned psycho or crazy. And now he calling me out there. I need help. This girl turned crazy. I called security. Okay, this is what you wanted though, right? So I'm like, on top of the fact that I done dealt with all your crap, you calling me about another chick. So mind you, this is now turning mental. You know what I'm saying? Mentally draining me. Mentally hurting me. And he don't care about how I feel. You moved in a whole nother chick or whatever. And I'm paying rent still here. But of course, knowing him, he probably made it seem like this was his place. So, as we fast forward deeper into the situation, he ended up breaking the lease, filing bankruptcy, and took all the furniture, even the furniture that I had, because I basically had to go back to my parents' house and there was nowhere for me to store it. I wasn't about to go through storage and all of that. So now it gets to this point where they start to garnish my check for the apartment because of the simple fact that he filed bankruptcy and then turned around and now they want money from me. So the little jobs I was working, they come in to garnish my check. And I remember one day at work, him calling me at my job, and I can't even remember what it was for. One of the ladies at work was like, it's a guy on the phone for you. And I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? Because even after we broke up, of course, I was still dealing with a lot of the stuff that he was going to. And I'm not going to lie, y'all, I ran back. You know what I'm saying? In a lot of situations, I was the one going back and hoping that things will work out even after all of that, even after him moving in a female. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, he get on the phone cussing me out, talking about all type of stuff. Like I said, it was a while ago, but it was crazy. And I remember going back to the break room and breaking down, and the lady was like, are you okay? She was like, I heard how angry he was on the phone with you and stuff like that. I said, this man is crazy. This man is crazy. You know, and it took a lot for me to get out of that situation, because even though we were broke up, he was still calling me, still asking, you know, for certain things from me. And he was always in a situation. I was the one coming to rescue. You know, I was almost the one coming to kind of save the day because he knew I was reliable. And he knew the type of person I was. I wasn't all the way over him. So anyways, now we going from you calling my job, they garnishing me, talking about money. And now after some months down the line or whatever, I decide I'm ready to get in, you know, talk to somebody else and deal with somebody else or whatever. So of course, when he finally found that out, he was on that tip of like, you know, basically don't call me, don't talk to me or whatever. And I wasn't gonna call him anyways, because when I'm talking to somebody else, I basically had deaded that situation, but he was the one always reaching out to me. Now, by this time, I'm already talking to somebody else, dealing with somebody else or whatever. And I was like, at this point, talking to him about getting my money back. You know, we talked, and I'm trying to get my money at this point because I'm getting garnished. And I'm like, okay, so hopefully he'll send, you know, give me some money towards this, you know, apartment or whatever. Because at this time, I ended up having to file bankruptcy. But at this time, I didn't, you know, because they were garnishing my check and I had to figure out how to go through the process or whatever. So I get over there thinking that we could talk or work something out. He ends up pulling a gun out on me. And before he pulled out the gun on me and him in the process of talking, he's talking about, you know, I know you want to move back with me. We could move back with each other. You know what I'm saying? You know how we did before. You know, we handle business. We work together well. And, you know, you should move back with me. And I'm like, no, I'm not. At this time, he ended up having a daughter with one of the girls that he said he wasn't talking to or wasn't dealing with like that. And somehow they ended up talking. And this, mind you, y'all, this not even the girl who was in the apartment. Anyways, turned around and pulled a gun out on me. And I promise y'all, I cannot make this up. I'm like, here I am again in a situation that was horrible. You pull a gun out on me after all of this that we've been through. And he talking about he playing. And I don't believe he was playing at all. And so in my head, and I was like, I'm about to go. He's like, what you mean? You know I ain't about to shoot you for real or whatever, but you know, you need to stop playing. We need to live together. I was like, I gotta go. And I remember to myself grabbing my stuff because like I said, I stopped over there to try to reconcile, make an agreement, you know, so I can get the money from him because they were garnishing my check. And I said, at this point, I don't even care. So Anyways, grab my stuff, get in my car, and I remember pulling off and thanking God that I was not a victim of him. Because in my head, after you already tried to burn me with an iron, punching me, hitting on me, sitting on my stomach when you thought I was pregnant, it ain't no telling what you're going to do. And I'm being real. Like, people think they can just abuse you, hurt you, touch you like that. And I allowed it to happen. And it was all because of the simple fact that I was in a situation that I think I started to feel like this was all I was worth. And I promise y'all, I cried many nights, and I'm trying to hold back because I really want to get through this video. I cried many nights trying to understand why this happened to me. Trying to understand, like, dang, I was such a good girlfriend to him. I cared about him. We had an apartment together, and it was all a part of his plan. Like, later down the line, I seen he was getting over on women for what he wanted. For what he wanted. And I don't think he really cared about these other women's feelings. And I promise I cried a lot. It was a lot of songs I remember playing back to back about relationships and love and, you know, just the pain that I felt was something I never thought I would feel. Like I said, yeah, have I been cheated on before? Yes. Have I been through some relationships I shouldn't have been in? Yes. But when you are in an abusive situation, that's a whole nother ball game. That's a whole nother pain that I never thought I was ever going to feel. And I remember back in 2006, a Christmas, I remember when I had got robbed, and I was supposed to come out to the apartment right after work, you know, because his mom was coming over and we were going to spend Christmas, because I ended up getting robbed on Christmas Eve. And we were going to spend Christmas Day with his mom and his brother. They came to spend the night. And I remember, you know, just thinking back to how comforting he was in that moment. I just thought in that moment, the caring part of him after me being robbed, I just thought in my head, I guess, that we had a chance to work things out. We had a chance, like, I'm like, okay, he do have a side where he shows that he cares, you know. I guess that moment of me being robbed made me feel like there was some hope for us, you know, because I seen a more of a nurturing side that I seen when we first started talking. I'm like, okay, he still has that side. Maybe he still cares about me, but no, it only got worse. What he was showing me is him. So, and I say that to say, no matter what little positive moments you may have or positive situations that you may have with your partner, your husband, whatever, or your husband or your wife, understand that what they're showing you is what they're showing you. And even when they apologize and say they're sorry or show them little moments or events in your life where you think, okay, he might change or she might change, that's not always the case. And don't get me wrong, I feel like people can change. But when you're in an abusive relationship, it's like they're showing you what they are, who they are. And it's time to go. And I understand that there's situations where you may not be able to get out of, but you have to reach to at least a family member or like those different programs that they have for people who are in abusive relationships, or those hotlines that you can reach out to. If you need to let somebody know at least what's going on so that people know or people can check up on you and be there for you, because it was a dark moment in my life. And me being in that situation led to only the breakdown of other relationships that I was getting into because I wasn't healed. I wasn't healed from that. And I'm bringing my personal pain to different relationships after that. And it was hard for me to trust. It was hard for me to look at me as being a beautiful, strong Black woman It was hard for me to see that in myself. It was hard for me to look in the mirror. It was hard for me to say that I could ever be loved right. Anything that I saw in my relationships after that, I only felt like you just want me to be different. You want me to be somebody else and I'm not, because I tried so hard in my past relationships, and especially in this relationship of me being abused. Like, he tried to change how I was, change how I dress. You know what I'm saying? That was also another situation in our relationship, another red flag. But I say all of this to let women and men know, abuse can be physical and mental. And even if you're afraid to get out of that situation, let somebody know, somebody close, so that they can help you or they can try to ease you out of that situation. Because if I would have stayed any longer in that relationship, because like I said, he ended up giving me the boot and moving another girl in. But it's no telling where or what could have happened to me. And me going back to try to get some money from him because of them filing bankruptcy on me for an apartment that he left after he decided he wanted to file bankruptcy, is like, understand, there's no money, personal possessions, that is no money or personal possessions in the world that compares to your life. Your life is more important than that stuff. When I tell you the stuff that you lose, you can get it back. You can get that back. Your life, you can't get back. Will it hurt? Will you cry those tears because you thought the relationship was supposed to work? Yes. But when I tell you, you can reclaim your life and get your stuff back, that there will be a man out there or a woman out there that genuinely loves you and won't put their hands on you, it can happen. When I say God has shown me a lot from where I was in that past relationship to where I'm at now, I would never let another man put their hands on me. I know the red flags now, so that I would never be in that situation. And women and men, understand, when you are in that situation, understand that I know from me going through it why you stayed. It could be many reasons, because you feel like you won't find nobody else, because you may feel like, because financially you may be in a situation where you feel like you can't move on. But when I tell you, I prayed to God in a lot of my situations and just asked God to protect me and help me get through a lot of the stuff that I got through. Believe me, God showed up every time. And things that I have lost in my life, I have gotten back bigger and better than what I ever thought. And it can happen for you. But if you feel like you might be too scared to reach out to the police or whatever, like I said, there's different hotlines that you can call. There's different, things that you can look up online to help you, or reach out to at least one person so that if something does happen, they can get to you. Because me going back, talking about some money, I never thought he was going to pull a gun out on me. Never in a million years. I didn't think that it was going to come to you pulling a gun out on me. And if he would have pulled the trigger, I wouldn't have been here today. So I just want to say a quick prayer for anybody in an abusive relationship, physically and mentally. Dear Lord, I just pray for anybody going through this situation currently, Lord. I pray that you give them the strength and the power to be able to get out of that situation, to be able to understand your value, to be able to understand that you are more than what the abuser puts on you. And Lord, I just pray for people who are searching for an understanding, that once they get out the situation that they're in, that they'll be able to see that these things happen in life, but you don't have to be a victim. You don't have to be a product of what you've been through. That there is a positive light on the other side for your life when you get out of that abusive situation that you're in. In the name of the Lord Jesus, amen. So I'm going to close out this video right now. And I hope that this video is able to help somebody who is in a situation of abuse. And I just want to thank you guys for listening to my situation. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for listening. I'm hoping to be able to help at least one person who might be going through something like me. You know, don't look at it like it's your fault. It's not your fault. Sometimes we fall in love with people thinking that they're going to change. I've been there. So I just want to thank you guys for listening to this video. If you please can like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You know, like I said, I do this channel because I want to help out other people. There's no judgment. There's no, like, I'm just coming from where I've been to help somebody else, because I never had that. I never had somebody who, was able to speak to me and show me that there's something on the other side of this abuse. There's something that says I have value and this is not love. I never had nobody to show me that. And probably because of, like I said, a lot of my friends and family didn't know, what I was going through. I was going through this situation clearly by myself. And believe me, when my dad found out, he was very upset. Because he's like, you're not going to put your hands on my daughter and hurt her in this manner. And so even when my parents seen the value in me, I didn't even see the value. I didn't see the value in me. And that's sad, but I thought I was in love. So I just want to, once again, thank you guys for watching this video. I'm hoping to be able to help somebody. And stay tuned, you guys, for the next video coming out. Thanks again. Bye.